consecutively, being molested from the age of 7 to 12 by my biological father. Then I was raped by my stepfather at the age of 13, and my biological father also began to rape me. So I was raped by my biological father and my stepfather from the age of 13 to 18. I met my ex-husband at the age of 19, and he also raped me, physically abused me, mentally abused me, emotionally abused me, verbally abused me, financially abused me, and also spiritually abused me. And for me, I left the situation, not for me, but for my child, because I didn't want her to grow up thinking that that type of relationship was okay, even though as parents we think we hide a lot of things and we keep a lot of things, but in reality our children still see, feel, and acknowledge what's going on in the house. So for me to have a healthy relationship, my story, when I tell people in depth my story, it's a wow factor to them because I forgave my father and my stepfather and my ex-husband, and there are several in between. They are just the main people to talk about. So I forgave them, and a lot of pain that victims go through at the time of the abuse, God protected me from that. I didn't feel at the time anything was wrong because that was normal for me. So I knew at the age of 7. So for me, it was my normal life. My father didn't teach me how to tie my shoes. My father taught me when I have between my legs, every man desires and I'll never be broke. That's what my father taught me. So for me, that was my normal. About 4 years ago is when God showed me my purpose in life. We are survivors. It's faith-based. And it's not something that I woke up one morning and said I'm going to do. This is what God told me I was going to do. That was to be transparent and tell my story so that other women, men, and children that are walking or have walked in my shoes will be able to relate and see that you can get through what God has put you through. And so for me, all the pain that God protected me from, because it allowed me to live a so-called normal life, it hit me all at once 4 years ago. All the pain that I didn't feel going through the abuse, all the anger, all the hurt, all the questions, it all hit me at once. So now, with my organization, I am going through my healing process along with everyone else. So now I have my outbreaks. Now I have my questions. Now I have my anger bursts. And now my household has to deal with the things that I'm going through because for so many years I was protected from it. So many years I didn't know what I was doing and going through was wrong.
Wow.
So my situation from a lot of people that I've heard, talked to and dealt with is so different because I tell young ladies when I speak in high schools, it's like the videos that they see and the video girls and the shopping sprees and the cars and the credit and all that. I was doing that when I was 13 years old. 30 now, oh my goodness, wow. 30-some years ago, that was me. In the mall, on shopping sprees. I had cars. I had this. I had that. But what did I have to give up for it? But that was what I knew. So for me, I didn't have the hatred. I didn't view anyone differently. I just now started to really go through my process and be like, wow, why did you do this to me? Why did you, how come, why this, why that? I'm just now, and when I talk to my stepfather, because me and my father were the best of friends. My father still lives in San Antonio. So now this has come out, the people that are close to me don't understand. Well, if he did this to you, how could you treat him like this? How could you do this? Not understanding that God didn't allow me to view that man any different than as my father. Until now. Now I say, hey, Dad, I'm your firstborn. How could you do that? But now that my father is not speaking to me, because I've been obedient to God, my family is divided. My sister and my father have not talked to me, my mother, and my brother in over 2 years. But me and my father used to be inseparable. My stepfather still says he loves me, still says he has a pair of my panties the night that he read to me, still says he contemplates coming and kidnap me, still to this day. So for me, I have one dramatic spectrum to the other. My ex-husband has gotten help. He went to a counselor. He apologized. We, not intentionally, it was not planned, live less than 5 miles from each other. We co-parent and we're the best of friends. So for me, I think God should, in order for me to do what he had for me to do, for me, I just feel like he protected me. And now that I'm where I'm at in life, he's like, okay, my child, I'm going to allow you, I think you can handle it now. Feel everything that I protected you from so that you can understand what the next person is feeling, so that you can actually relate to her hurt or his hurt or that child's pain. You will now understand what they feel, so when they cry, you cry because you can feel and you understand. But before, I didn't feel it. Now I feel the hurt and the pain. So that's how it's for me. It was not hard or a challenge or uncomfortable to have relationships because I didn't know it was wrong. I didn't feel the hurt. I didn't feel the pain. I didn't feel the anger until 4 years ago. Wow.
That's crazy. And you know what I love about God? God is the chief musician, and he orchestrates our lives to the point. I think that for me, the thing that made it easy for me to carry this load is, and I was reading, I found some old notebooks and I found that it was 2010. Well, it had to be 2009 going into 2010, New Year's Eve. And I was getting ready for church. And it was my first time hearing an audible voice from God. And he said to be still and be quiet. Me not knowing what he was preparing me for. But it was just a calmness that I felt because I felt like I lived my whole life in chaos. Everything was me running. My mother used to call me a gypsy because I would just run from one place to another. If something got hard, I'd run. And I didn't stay and deal with something. But it was in 2010 when he allowed me to deal with my issues. And I say he was preparing me to birth Eve's roses. He was preparing me to this point to be transparent, because he is not allowing us to sugarcoat this thing. And that's why we're so shunned. That's why, we're not the popular group when it comes to telling our testimonies because of being molested by our biological fathers. I know Ira and Shauna, you guys have that child from your father. And it's just, he's just like, I feel that we are in the position in the family to be the generational curses, because even for you, Wanda, although, your family seems divided at this time, and through your obedience and being transparent, God is going to restore, but he still has to do some chipping away. It still has to be he's peeling back the layers, because transparency in the families that are divided by this is the key, is the only way that the generational curse is going to be broken. It has to be exposed. So once they get over the initial shock that you were brave enough to expose it, then the healing process can begin. So just continue to lift them up in prayer. You ladies are awesome. Like, I be trying not to get all emotional on the radio show. Try to keep it professional. But, when God gets in and you really, really think of the goodness of the Lord and all that he has done, all that he has brought you through, all of the times when you thought that you walked alone, and you really weren't walking alone. You were really one of his bravest soldiers. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he say that he knitted you in your mother's womb, then you like, Lord, when I'm in my writing, I'm like, Lord, you knew that was going to happen, and you allowed it to happen. But he allowed it to happen because he knew that we were the ones, we weren't, although I know that we thought about taking our lives, that we was going to stand. We was going to stand. We was going to stand. And I always think about it. I was like, even no matter how bad it made me feel, I still always just visualize Jesus going to the cross, being whooped, being, just carrying his cross and being whooped for me. So I say, well, I took it, and, some days it's harder. Then it depends on, how your prayer life is and how much you fasted and how much you read your word. Because the enemy always come back and tap you on the shoulder like, look, girl, it ain't over. Or, sometimes my father has passed away, and sometimes when my husband is not here, I can feel him come in the room and kick the bed, because that's when he used to touch me when I was asleep. He would wake me up out my sleep. So it's still some struggles that we go through. But my next question, drum roll, who we gonna go to? Everybody's like, I don't know where she's going. It's gonna be for Sabine. Sabine, I know your pain more so is your brother more at this point in the story. It's your brother that you're trying to deal with and trying to put the pieces together. And I just want you to I want you to share if you were angry with God when your brother got killed.
No, I was never angry with God. Not at all, because he's in control of the universe. And I was bitter. And I know that as a woman of God, it was a very dangerous thing, a very, very, very dangerous place to be, only because in him I live, move, and have my being. And to find myself in a predicament where my brother was not just my brother, that was my son. I raised this kid. I did everything for him, pretty much. And at age 16, when you got to unzip him in a body bag and you're looking through his head and the bullet hole, it was just, and it was only by the grace of God that, day by day I'm getting through it. I will never get over it. And I never questioned God either. I guess because of my maturity level in Christ. But if I was still a babe, I'm pretty sure I would have questioned God. I would have been angry with God, but not once did I question him. Was I mad? We're getting ready to hit 1 year since he's been gone. Yesterday marked 11 months. By far, it's the worst that I've ever had to encounter. It's the worst. It's the worst.
And it seems like it just, I don't know, you just hear, you know how you think that you've been through something because you were molested too, and then you I was molested, then I got to see if I have, if I have some sickness going on in my body, then you kill my brother, and then you what else is next, God? Jesus.
It's like a back to back. If it's not one thing, it's another. But, the word of God declares, many are the affliction of the righteous, that the Lord shall deliver us from them all. And he will. He's an on-time God. He will deliver you from it all. The sickness is, I know it's not to kill me. It's for him to get the glory out of it. And even in death, he remains to be faithful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you say... You say, wait a minute, you see, do you see the power? Because y'all didn't even know y'all was just being set up. I'm giving them a glimpse of the book. I'm just giving them a glimpse of the collaboration. Do you feel that fire? Oh, that's crazy. See how I set y'all up? So, I'm going to go on to Natasha. And Natasha... Natasha did her little, Natasha was an advocate this last month for domestic violence, and that's your passion. Your passion is domestic violence. And I was a victim of domestic violence too, but I feel that domestic violence was residue of the child's sexual abuse. And I want your question is